All right, and we are live.
Yes, hello everyone.
Hello, sirs.
GM, y'all.
GM.
Maybe we'll just give the audience a couple of minutes just to stream in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, GM potato juice.
I see potato juice, GM. Who else do we have here today?
GM Taiga.
I see Tiger. I see
Hello,
Haman.
Hammond. Good morning. I like the frog picture, potato juice. Hello, Stephen. Vinyl. Yo.
GMNT.
Yeah, the juice is everywhere.
All right, I think we are good to go. So yeah, let me just kick things off if everyone's all good.
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome.
Sounds great to me.
All right, welcome to Mantle Ecowaves episode 8. Really great to be here today alongside these fellow gentlemen. Today we have Oliver from Aurelius and also Tex from Axis, who's the co-founder and over's growth at Aurelius. Maybe we'll just go over some quick intros. Um, for myself, I'm Gabe. I'm currently leading DeFi growth at Mantle. So very much focus on the Mantle DeFi ecosystem. Um, and maybe over, do you want to start first? We give a quick intro of yourself and also what is Aurelius. Then we'll jump over to text.
Oh yeah, sure. I'm Oliver, and I'm originally like a developer working for Conclave, which is our main company. But yeah, we run Aurelius Finance on Mantle, so it's a stablecoin and lending market. And yeah, now I'm doing growth stuff. So I'm doing business development for Aurelius, and yeah, really cool to be here today.
Awesome. Thank you, over. And for yourself, text.
Hey, what's up, guys? Tex here. Originally, my background is in engineering as well, but I'm the product lead and co-founder of Axis, where we focus on auction-driven applications, including this novel sealed bid batch mechanism that we'll discuss today. But over the past 3 years, we've helped on-chain organizations raise over $200 million using different auction mechanisms on 9 chains and now supporting Mantle.
Very cool. Thank you, text. Maybe just to give the audience a deeper understanding of maybe Aurelius and Axis before we dive into like the full agenda, right? Um, maybe in let's say 2 sentences, how would you sort of describe Aurelius and what's like the USP here?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's a very secure and also capital efficient lending market with a very scalable stable coin that can give users a very high but also sustainable yield mechanism.
Interesting, very cool. And maybe Tex, you want to share a little bit more about Axis and what was like the rationale behind Axis? What's like the main USPs?
Yeah, that's a great question. So currently, the way that a lot of token launches work is quite different between on-chain versus off-chain. So off-chain, you have, really, top tier launch pads like CoinList that commonly do, fixed price sale with vesting, but they also use an auction mechanism that's a lot easier to do when you're storing the bids in a database than publishing them on the blockchain. And the sealed bid batch auction system that we built is the first on-chain version of this mechanism that's been used by really top tier launch pads like CoinList, but also the same mechanism is used to auction US Treasury bonds to the tune of billions of dollars every week. So, it's a good mechanism.
Interesting. Very, very cool. And I guess let's jump right into the first, maybe the main topic of today, which is the Aurelius Auction V2. So yeah, maybe let's kick things off with the Aurelius TGE. Maybe Over, can you give us a quick rundown of what's it all about and why is it important for the Mantle ecosystem?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we've been live for a while. So our Aurelius has been giving out yield to Mantle users for a while now. And the token generation event, it's basically, it will allow us to incentivize METH. So basically, the short answer is that we'll be able to provide very high METH yields, and we're very bullish on the Mantle ecosystem. So we're very much aligning with FBTC, CMETH soon, and also METH. So basically, it will allow us to incentivize those assets and provide a very high yield. And also, I think we'll be able to create kind of like a liquidity bootstrapping mechanism for the ecosystem. So, for example, new native products that launch, they'll be able to use this launch mechanism, so they can use the Axis platform to launch their tokens. And we are the first to do this, actually. So you can say that it's like an innovation for the ecosystem and the chain. And hopefully this can spark a lot of innovation on the chain, and allow a lot of new native protocols to come out of this. So we'll be able to advise other protocols on this since we've done it. And also, it will be possible to bootstrap liquidity with Aurelius, since we'll be able to pair new tokens with our CDP. So you would be able to perhaps mint our stablecoin with your newly launched token. And that could really fuel this innovation and native tokens. And we also have a close collaboration with Clio Exchange. So right now we have the biggest NFT position there. So we're also able to incentivize and drive liquidity. So we're really we're looking to build our protocol and to scale the yields for Mantle. But also, in the long run, we want to start this innovation mechanism that can be, generating new protocols for Mantle as well, and to create maximal value and to create a truly native ecosystem. So I would say that's our long-term goal, to support the ecosystem as a whole and provide a novel way to launch projects and tokens. So this is our first step in doing that. And yeah, so we'll be able to provide sustainable yields as well, since our protocol is very capital efficient, and it generates a lot of revenue. So we think that it will be a source of value accrual for the network as a whole, and we'll be able to capture bigger and bigger market share with this, since we'll be able to pay out the highest yields essentially with our token design. So yeah, we're very excited about the launch. We've been waiting for a long time now. So I've been farming Aurelius for a long time, so I'm really excited to see things happening, and also to be innovators in using the Axis tech as well. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, I'm super excited as well. And before we get into the Axis tech, maybe does it make sense, Oliver, to maybe talk about kind of the insight on, multi-collateral liquidity, but using the reserves through a lending market and how it, amplifies the amount of capital on Mantle? Because I think the insight that went into building Aurelius is quite novel and is kind of the first that I've seen someone using this model.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I guess we can say that we really love liquidity. We're like liquidity maxis to the max. We've been using it for a long time. But yeah, we have a long history of using liquidity, and also we are liquidity builders. So we have deployed ethos, for example, on Optimism. So this is really like the evolution of building for a very long time in the DeFi ecosystem, and kind of seeing the problems with liquidity in other systems and other stable coins. So one problem is that it doesn't generate enough yield to stay competitive. With liquidity, you're not able to have a very high yield. So I guess it's like a different profile. It's very risk off. But what we decided was we wanted to support multiple collaterals. And then we also want to earn a yield on this in a safe way as possible. So what we found is that combining it with the lending market is the most safe and efficient approach. Since we run both of these protocols, we can combine them. So that means the collateral is supplied in the lending market, and it's a lending market we control. So we know that it's operated in a safe way. But what that means is, like, if you incentivize liquidity on our protocol, it will actually be reused. So it's actually much more efficient at creating actual value in the ecosystem. And then if you also start using collateral to mint the stable and provide LP for your project, for example, then it becomes like extremely capital efficient. And that's why I'm saying that it could be like a bootstrapping mechanism. And it's also like other problems that we've encountered, like, for example, a lot of liquidity forks, they wanted to lever up LSTs. That was a big use case. I think people want LST yield. People want meth yield. So a problem with that with liquidity is that people dump the stablecoin, and that depegs the stablecoin actually. So that's a pretty big problem that these forks are facing. And that's what we solved with our latest version, our V3. Since with the interest-bearing collateral, it can take a portion of that interest that the collateral is generating and redirect it to the stable coin. So then the users who supply the collateral can still get this yield, but it will also help to preserve the peg. And we think that's really important for a stable coin to be actually useful. So we researched this, and we have published research papers on pegging mechanisms for stable coins. So we are kind of like in the trenches doing this research and trying to create really like the best DeFi system and mechanisms to create like a truly long-term sustainable, like, value generating economy. So that's what we think that this system will be able to do for Mantle as a whole.
So it actually uses yield to buy back a USD when it's, kind of under peg.
Yeah, we have a design for a PID controller that would essentially buy back when it's under peg, and it could possibly
That's
change the interest rate as well.
that's pretty
Yeah.
amazing because when you're buying back under peg, it kind of means you're earning that yield on the spread as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That could be revenue that goes to the protocol. So it's just like capturing even more value, and it's also like a net positive for the users, since it will stabilize the peg as well.
That's really cool. And I don't know if we've talked about this, if I've mentioned this before, but actually, we have some, former Liquidity devs on our team as well. So definitely love the LUSD design. And, I've participated in multi-collateral LUSD, you know, projects in different ecosystems, most notably one on Arbitrum. But, seeing this design of fusing, the best of Liquidity with multi-collateral with the best of Aave, and in a novel way, is kind of one of the coolest things that I've seen in a while, with people doing iterating on the Liquidity model.
Yeah, I mean, we really love Liquidity, and it has a lot of strengths. So we believe it's like worth building on. And right now, I don't see like a ton of innovation there. Um, so I think I'm the only one that I'm aware of that has this kind of mechanism. Yeah, it's very exciting to see that go live as well, and it's already live on our other protocol, Ironclad, for example. So it's being battle tested as we speak.
That's awesome.
Amazing. I think just jumping back to sort of the auction, right? Maybe over you can take this one. So what's sort of like the timeline looking like for the auction, the token TGE, and also how can sort of Mantle users get involved in this auction?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the auction is starting in 1 day approximately tomorrow, and then it will be pretty short. So you have 2 days to bid here. So it's between the 28th and the 30th. And then right after that, the staking will go live. The liquidity will be seeded on Clio. And then the next day, you'll be able to claim these tokens. So you can say it's like a 1 day vesting period. And then our option token exercises go live. So we're also giving an airdrop to early users. So they will also receive it in the form of an option token. And yeah, and then our emission schedule will go live as well at the same time. And then that will like heavily incentivize meth and ETH. So you'll be able to borrow ETH and lever up on your meth essentially.
Very cool.
And
And
yeah, to do this, you can go to the Axis link. I think it will be posted somewhere. But yeah, you just go to the Axis front end, and there you can place a bid with wrap mantle tokens. So there is a minimum bid. I think it's pretty small, and there is a minimum price as well. So I think the minimum is like 1 million fully diluted value for the token, which is very low. So I don't think it would be that low, but essentially it's possible to buy it for that price. And also, you get a maximum referral fee. So you get a 10% referral fee. So any sale that goes through that, you will get 10%, which is the maximum allowed. So that's some alpha for you.
awesome. No, thanks for sharing. I was just about to mention that for those of you listening in or watching the live stream, you can scan the QR code in the top left corner of the screen. And also, we have potato juice in the chat, which has been very helpful to post the auction link there as well. So those of you guys who want to get involved, feel free to click on the link. Yes, and he posted his referral link. So
Yeah, very
well,
nice.
what a genius!
Awesome.
Very clever.
Clever.
Can I share my screen, Gabe, to kind of show what the auction looks like here?
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. Can you see it?
I cannot see it on
Yeah,
my end.
now I see
All
something.
right.
Okay, now I see something.
There we go. Awesome. So, for anyone who wants to check out the auction, go to access.finance. You can click on Launch App here, and that will take you to our D app. It's really cool. If you see the access origin.eth.limo, the entire D app is deployed on IPFS, and it's kind of served via our ENS domain. So, for maximum decentralization here, pretty cool. You can kind of see right now, Aurelius is scheduled to go live tomorrow. So it's upcoming. You kind of see some of the target raise here, and you have this option to kind of see it in the wrapped mantle terms, but we also have the USD version here. When you click into view auction, when it goes live, you'll see the option to actually place a bid. You'll have a minimum amount of wrapped mantle tokens to commit. So you actually select how many tokens you want to commit to the auction. And then it will ask you to select a price to bid at. And this is kind of where people are seeing, refer an auction. So if you paste any address in here, you'll get a referral link. And just to confirm, over the configuration is at 10% of bids. Is that right?
Yeah, it's 10%.
That's awesome. So basically, this is a huge incentive to kind of refer bids out to people to participate. This should be a good incentive both for community members, but also for KOLs, distribution hubs. But anyone can actually earn by referring winning bids to the auction. And so this is the setup. The interface will change a bit here. If anyone wants to learn more, they can go to our docs. Has a bit about how the auctions work, and taking a minute to discuss why this particular mechanism is so good. I have our one pager up. It kind of shows the same thing here, but basically, if you think about one of the biggest on-chain token launch mechanisms right now with liquidity bootstrapping pools, it kind of offers a simpler choice to the end user of whether to buy tokens at a given point in time or not. But with some of that simplicity comes a really large bid distribution. So, some people who buy the bottom get really good terms. People who buy later, will commonly pay 2 or 3 times the price of other users. And the cool thing about this particular auction mechanism is that everyone gets the same price. So what ends up happening at the end of the auction when the bids are decrypted. So that's the interesting part, is it's sealed bid. It's a major assumption on how these auctions work, because if everyone could see each other's bids, it's really easy to marginally outbid the last person here. So everyone submits their bid. It's fully encrypted. You can't see what it is. And so this leads to superior price discovery, where at the end of the auction, you kind of see how everyone bid, and you end up going down this bid stack and say, oh, this person committed this many tokens, and in this case, wrapped mantle. And then you end up finding the price where the total amount committed to the auction actually clears the capacity. And then everyone who with a winning bid actually pays this last price. So these people bid up here, but they actually get more tokens than they expected because they pay this price. And so it aligns incentives for all of the participants in the auction. Because if, for example, you have an LBP that you're participating in, and someone bought the bottom, and the end price is 2 or 3 times what they paid. When the project actually goes to seed liquidity, what price do you seed it at? If you seed it at the high price, then a lot of people who bought in the low phases of the LBP are instantly in profit. And studying a lot of LBPs, you kind of see that actually it's 2 to 3x in profit. And so there's a huge incentive to actually sell and realize those gains from the LBP to when liquidity is seeded. Meanwhile, with our mechanism, with sealed bid auctions, everyone gets the same price, and so it makes it really easy to seed liquidity at that price, and everyone gets in on the same fair terms, and there's no misaligned incentives between the initial set of token holders. There's not this PvP mechanism. And kind of a fun one, we covered CoinList and US Treasury auctions, but Google actually IPO'd back in the day via a Web 2, a tech version of this mechanism called Open IPO. And also for US Treasuries, they use this mechanism specifically because it makes trading bonds really easy, because everyone has the same price. Whereas if you have fragmented prices, it leads to some initial problems finding like where the trading prices in the market. So it's really established mechanism. And the other cool thing that we have as an advanced feature, just as an aside, is since that price, we actually have an advanced direct to liquidity feature where if you raise at this particular price, since it, you can use the proceeds from the auction to directly seed liquidity on any DEX. We've made it modular to support, UniV2, UniV3. You could code up something for Balancer, Clio, really any decentralized exchange. So we've built a lot of advanced features in here that are quite cool. But yeah, that's a lot about Access.
Yeah, very cool. Very big brain.
Very interesting. I know in crypto, a lot of users are more probably familiar with like a Dutch auction style. So how would this sort of compare against like a typical Dutch auction?
This is actually a variation of a Dutch auction. It's like a multi-unit Dutch auction, mainly because you're not paying your bid, you're paying the lowest winning bid. And so it's a second price multi-unit auction. The Treasury Department, a lot of people in finance refer to this mechanism as a Dutch auction.
Interesting. Very cool.
Yeah. And trying to think, anything else we should cover on the interface? I think actually also on the curator side, we have Revelo Intel as a curator on Access, and they've done really top-notch research across a number of different protocols, and the report that they wrote for Aurelius is excellent. It provides like one of the most in-depth analysis that I've seen for a token launch. So would definitely suggest checking that out, and also checking out the free accounts on Revelo Intel. There's a ton of reports in there, and yeah, I think they have a lot of coverage of the Mantle ecosystem. So shout out to Revelo.
Yeah, and to add to that, can you explain like what is the curator role? Like, what are they supposed to be doing?
Yeah, exactly. So we built Access to be open and permissionless. So right now, the way that we're onboarding, initial users of the product is to allow curators with an established reputation and kind of allow them to curate projects that they know the team, they have experience with them. So the curator role is basically saying, in some future state for this D app, anyone could come in and start one of these auctions. But for right now, what people need to understand is like if someone comes in and deploys Aurelius, like is this the right token? Is this the right team? And by having curators who are actually plugged into the ecosystem, they can say, yes, this is the token, this is the team. Here's their information. Here's the kind of the report that they put together on the background about the project. It's basically just saying, yes, this is the token being offered. I've reviewed the setup, and am staking my reputation on this being accurate. So that's the curation role, and curators can take many different forms, from research firms to kind of individuals in crypto. Also could have a protocol be a curator, but the cool thing that we've done with aligning the fees is that the referral fees, for example, with the auction mechanism, if you refer in a winning bid, theoretically, the clearing price is going to be higher. You're actually going to get more. You're actually going to get more revenue from the auction itself, and so you should be willing to pay, a fee for referrals, and that's paid in the bidding token. So in this case, referrals will pay out wrapped mantle, and then for curators, they're actually like verifying and highlighting the token being launched, and they actually get paid in the launch token. So in this case, AU for Aurelius, because it really aligns incentives to make sure that curators are kind of willing to be paid in the token that's being auctioned, and then referrals are kind of agnostic to that, with incentivizing sharing the link and being paid in the quote token. And there's no protocol fees on Axis. Right now, we're really just trying to create a multi-sided marketplace for participants to kind of use this auction mechanism to power next generation token launches.
Very cool. Maybe going back to Oliver, this one is for you. For the Aurelius auction specifically, right? Like, why Axis? Like, what makes them sort of like the perfect partner for you guys for this TGE?
Yeah. I mean, we've been in this space for a while now, so we've already done a few token launches, and we've tried different mechanisms. So we've done the liquidity bootstrapping pool, and we used launch pads, and we kind of seen like the problems of the space, like as a protocol. Initially we just talked to them, I think, about bonds, and then they mentioned that they also have this, and that sounded like very interesting to us, because we have this problem of we're launching protocols and we're making tokens, and we want to launch them in a good way that also protects our users, since we don't want our users to get wrecked by bidding in some pool, and then they lose out because they made a bid that's too high. So I think it made sense in the sense of, like, this works for all the parties. Like, it works for us, it works for our users, and also it has a third party, like in the curator role, like actually looking and making, like, investigating. So I think the different roles like align in different ways. And also, um, um, oh yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say, but um, yeah, we have seen this problem launching again and again, and also, oh yeah, oh yeah, it's like we had problems with third parties like launching tokens that, there's some kind of delay or something, and then that could really be bad for a token launch. So with this solution, we thought it was really interesting because you can do it permissionlessly. So we set the parameters of this auction ourselves in the front end, and I guess we're still depending on their website working and so on. And also, Revelo did a great job like being a curator. So I get it has some dependencies, but I think it is like more decentralized, and anyone will be able to do this. And you're not like delayed by the technology itself. So that was like a really big part from our experience.
Yeah, and thank you so much for supporting us for the initial launch of Axis, because, you know, I know we've, ironed out some of the, UI uh, issues that, have popped up here and there, but overall the system has worked, really well. And the cool thing about it is that, once we actually have kind of the system piloted, this is all running, like every single step on here is running on chain. So, the DApp itself is deployed to IPFS. So it's running on Filecoin. It's being served via an ENS domain. And at every single step, the way that we've evaluated how to build this product is to make it as on-chain as possible so that it can be decentralized and governed by a community.
Yeah, that's really cool. We're decentralization maxis, so we love it.
Yeah, yeah, and maybe this would be a good time to share a bit of alpha, but in the spirit of community ownership, we are we're putting the final touches on kind of an incentives program. So I think a lot of people kind of checking in a couple weeks will be quite happy to see some points or incentives for their participation in the early stages of access.
Very cool. Now, probably let's maybe jump to one of the more final questions. Maybe looking forward towards like the future, right? Just give us like a glimpse of how do you see the partnership between Aurelius and Axis sort of benefiting like the Mantle ecosystem, and like what's like the future, what's on the future roadmap for you guys?
Well, I think it's setting like a big precedent in the ecosystem, and it's showing like this mechanism actually works, and it's a great way to launch projects. And I think it is a general problem in the space of like how do you actually launch a coin, like how do you get your coin out there? It's a really big problem. So if we can solve that with decentralized technology, I think it's like massively bullish that this is already working on Mantle. So I guess I would like to see more projects trying this out, and creating sort of like a DeFi renaissance where we can have more native protocols building together, and sparking innovation and creating really like a win-win ecosystem where we can grow like from the ground up of launching on Mantle easily, and creating valuable projects that have a little bit easier time launching, little lower barrier to entry that will allow for more innovation to occur. So I guess that's the future that I'm seeing.
Yeah, I love it and agree with that as well. We're really looking forward to, running the first launch on Axis on Mantle. And, as people in the Mantle ecosystem kind of see this mechanism that it works and that, it actually does find this common market price for all of the participants, I think it's a no-brainer to use for new tokens launching on Mantle. And would love to be, more supportive in that role of the broader Mantle ecosystem, as well as explore how some of those advanced features like direct to liquidity can instantly seed liquidity for a project's token on any DEX on Mantle.
Definitely, 100%. I think the whole ecosystem will greatly benefit from this, given everyone's facing the age-old problem, right, of how to launch a token effectively. So, yeah, for anyone who's building on Mantle, do consider Axis as one of your partners here. And yeah, maybe just to close things off, do you guys have any alpha that you can share towards the broader audience? Any inside scoop of something that you want to leak, or maybe if you can't share too much, give us like a hint.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we actually have 5% of the token supply. It's going towards something we call an initial farm offering. So essentially, you'll be able to farm these tokens. So it means that there will be a lot of yield up for grabs in the near future. And I would check out our blog. I think maybe it's linked somewhere, but it's Aurelius Auction V2, the Encore. I think, yeah, maybe it's that one. Yeah, it has a picture of the up and coming metamorphosis emissions. So there you can see like which tokens will receive emissions. So we're very much aligning with this campaign. So the yields will be very good, I can say. So I would check that out.
And I think I might have jumped the gun a bit early for some Axis Alpha, but just as a reminder, we're we're actually finalizing the details for an incentives program on Axis. So, this will be a really good way to reward early users of the platform and onboard, an initial community for us, since we've been, kind of building the protocol quietly for the last 6 months.
Very cool. And with that, I think we have come to an end. Definitely go check these guys out. If you guys want to go ahead and follow Aurelius and Axis on Twitter, go do that. Maybe L Brian, for one last time, we can share the auction link as well. And yeah, anyone who wants to participate in the Aurelius auction, do go ahead and scan the QR code in the top left corner, or do help out some of our friends, like the Aurelius intern in the chat that I see him with the referral link. So somebody has to feed the intern. But yeah, really great having you guys on. And yeah, really excited for what's to come.
Yeah, very cool. We're very excited to build on Mantle.
Thanks so much for having us, Gabe. It's a great space, and yeah, we're so excited to support Mantle, and yeah, token launches. Check out Access.finance, and looking forward to working more with the Mantle ecosystem.
Awesome. Thank you guys. L Brian, do you have any closing words, or shall we just call it a day?
Yeah, join the Aurelius Discord, he says. And feed the potatoes.
All right. Looks like we're all good. Once again, thanks so much, guys, and have a good morning or night or afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. But yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.